can see, I'm back at it again on the 40-horse Electromatic shift, 1963 Craigslist special for 75 bucks. This motor has been a bit of a challenge. The engine itself seems really sound. And once I got into the lower unit, I discovered that all three of the pinion bearings and thrust bearings were bad. They were full of rust. Also, the lower gearing actually they were good, they worked, but the shift cable was rotted out. And I did do a check on the voltage drop for the 12 volts on the cable, and it appeared well to work fine, but when I got it torn apart, the fact is the cable was split. And I did attempt to repair it using shrink tubing, and it seemed to be okay. I checked it out electrically by, it was supposed to be 3.5 to 6 ohms of resistance on each of the leads. I was doing okay with that, but it just seemed like it was intermittent. And then when I finally got it back together, I couldn't get the reverse gear to work properly. So anyway, I've taken it apart again. I've got it over on the bench. I've got it disassembled. I do want to show you how what I pulled out of it, and show you that the new gears are not new, but they're gears from this other motor behind me, the same 40-horse Electromatic shift unit. But this is a little newer model, but they're newer gears, but they're identical gears. So I'm going to use the best I have, the best parts I have, to reassemble this and put it back together today. So hopefully you'll stay tuned and watch that, and I'll show how that's done. So stay tuned. Okay, so what you're looking at, these are the original gears that came out of the cone here, the lower unit. This was the original gears, and you can see I did try to clean this up some, and there is some discoloration, some galling maybe, and I'm not real happy with that. The gears themselves aren't broken, but they are pretty carboned up. Also the springs, these are springs that actually engage, tighten up around this to tighten the gear to turn once the coil is engaged. So this would be the forward gear, this would be the reverse gear. And this is the one I was having trouble with the wiring harness. The wiring harness that was damaged, actually this is the tail end of it that I'm keeping as spare parts, but the rest of it was pretty corroded. The insulation had torn. I have a video of that in the prelude for part 10, and this is part 10. So hopefully this is the final part, and I can get this together and have it completed and be ready for spring. So anyway, this is where I'm going to start now. Again, this was the original. This is the new one, or not new, but used, but came from the original motor that you saw in the foreground on my son's boat. So, but they're the same engine and the same gears. So basically, you just have to slide these in. I've got the forward coil is still in there with the bearings. I didn't do anything with those. They looked okay. I do have to take out, I do want to take out, there's a shield in here for the coil. There. Pull-up screw. Shield comes right out. So you can see that this shield that's holding in there was all corroded and rotted. So that protects that coil wire that's in there so it doesn't touch the gears as they're spinning. And there she is, nice and shiny new. So the newest one, and put it in. Again, find the bearing. There, that's good. First. Pinion's got to go in first. That pinion gears. Yeah, I always mess that up, but anyway. There she goes. There she goes. Easy peasy. Okay. Yeah, I think that's all the way. That's all the way again. Okay. Oh, there it was. Okay. Now she's in. Because that tightens that pinion up a little bit there. Now, the other coil. This is for the reverse gear. Oop. That was a thrust washer for this coil. Taken care of as stored properly anyway. So this is going to go in. I wonder, that lead's looking a little weak to me. Lead looks weak. Sounds pretty good, but I think I'm going to shrink wrap a piece. Okay, I can see the snap ring opening there. You probably can't, but allow me to show you. If you look in here, you will be able to see this is where the snap ring goes, right in this groove right here. And that locks in very tight. And the other one actually was so corroded it broke trying to get it out. So thrust washer. Okay. Yeah. This is gonna be tricky here. This is a strong clip. Yeah, these are pretty might be pliers. All right, where there's a will, there's a way. I was able to get it in there using these. Perseverance. So it's not in there entirely. I gotta make sure it's down inside that groove, but it's in there. Tap it in. There it went, one side. There's the other side. Okay, snap, snap. That was easy. Okay, now got my thrust bearing in there, thrust washer in there. Now all you gotta do is, this is the newer, from the newer model too, and it's got better bearings. The bearings on the old one here is out of this unit. The bearings seemed a little rough to me. So I'm gonna use the newer one. These fins here are intact. The bearing seems good. I'm hoping that seal is okay. I'm hoping. And when I get it all back together, I'll do another pressure test, because that seal looks okay, but you never know. So if that seal's no good, then it's gonna leak, and then I'm gonna have to pull at least just this part off and put in a new seal. And actually I can buy this whole assembly assembled with the bearing and most likely the O-ring and everything that comes with it, because there's an O-ring around here if I have to. So right now, this is what I'm gonna do. And I'm gonna put this back in here. And I'm gonna have to line those holes up with the threads. There's 4 bolts that go in. You have to come in contact with the threads. And these have to all have an O-ring on them, which I put new O-rings on because it will leak. I also bought a new nose cone for the propeller because the other one had gotten damaged. So that's gonna go on as well. And I did happen to buy a couple of new nuts that go on here just for safety's sake. I read in the manual that if you don't replace these every time, that the vibrations can cause them to come loose and then it can damage it. So I figured I better be safe and not use the old nuts. And I did buy some extra O-rings. This is what I'm going to use. It's 847. It's by 3M. It's high performance rubber and gasket adhesive. Now that I've got the water pump apart and everything else, I'm going to use the same adhesive on the water pump lower plate, the impeller plate. That'll actually be a little bit better seal. In the notes or in the comments, if they want, but at least it's on record that I'll use the right stuff to begin with, or this time. That's good. That's where it needs to be. Now this is, the shorter one is the reverse, and the longer one is, the longer lead is the forward gear. They're not color, I have a little bit of blue showing on this one, but not much. So it's way down there too, and I can't really see it very well. So I'm just gonna have to remember that the shorter lead is for the reverse gear. And then I can hook it up properly. Now, okay, I just wanted to mention that I put in that needle bearing down in there, and I did not get it deep enough. I bought a tool off eBay, which is meant for this, and I got my depth that I need. Because if that drive shaft isn't supported properly where that bearing needs to be, that'll wear out quickly. So I wanted to make sure that was done. That was one of my mistakes, and I verified. So yeah, the large outer diameter washer goes first, then the bearing, then the smaller inner diameter washer goes next, and then the lower pinion bearing. So I consulted the manual, and that's exactly what it said, and I remembered that wrong. That's why I'm redoing this. So I don't think there's a tool. And this is that one. That tool may be for that bearing, so I believe it is. Let's put the cable in through first. I think it went in. Phew. Okay. Green and blue. All right. Oh my God. That was a chore. I must be getting old. 'Cause that should have never took that much effort to get that cable through there like that. My goodness. All right. Finally. Ugh. All right, at this point, I'm going to take a little break. Okay. All right, I'm back. I've greased this up, this race, for the pinion bearing, and I've also added some 3M 847 adhesive so that this goes back together and hopefully smoothly. I believe directions tell you, or the manual, service manual tells you to add the sealer around here as well. It's covered. Okay, just cake that in there a little bit just to hold those bearings together so that I can assemble this thing without losing any down in that gear case. If I do, it means I got to take the doggone thing apart again and fish them out of there. So, now one. Oh, see, I don't have a mirror. It's up in there. Yeah. That should seal up. Okay. All right. Yeah. Looks like that got closed up pretty good. Don't trust your memory because it's a mistake. Never trust your memory. Always go back to the manual. Let's see if we can do another test here and see what turns. It is slightly dropping, even with the new seals. Wow. Leak it on the prop shaft on this part here. It's very possible. I didn't put a new one in. And that could be the seal here. And the actual prop shaft went out with the O-ring. I was thinking of the on the bearing, but could be there. I'm gonna get some soapy water and spray it. See what I can find. Oh, and you can see it. As we pop this up, you can just barely make it out right there. So that seal's no good. Joy. Well, that's fantastic. Probably should use the old one. At least even with the bearings being kind of rough, at least it had good seals. Now, if you can see that, I just replaced the prop shafts, that bearing and seal with the old one. And you can see it's right on 10 psi, and it hasn't changed in probably about 5 minutes. It's been there. So that's exactly what I'm looking for. So my drive shaft seal, water pump seal, and the prop seal look like they're in good shape now, finally. So I'm going to, again, fill this back up with gear oil and then reassemble, and then I'm going to be ready for a tank test. And if the weather permits, I'm going to do that next. So shows on the timer, it's been 1 minute since I've been filming it, but it's been longer than that. So, and the rule of thumb is 10 seconds, but I checked my, alrighty, well, I'm signing off now. This will be the end of part 10. Next time you see it, it'll be back in the tank and it'll be running again, hopefully. So thanks again for watching. Let me know your thought. I'd really like to know some people's opinions. I don't have a lot of comments out there, but I'd certainly like to hear from people and see what they think. So anyway, thank you. Stay tuned.